Don't forget, ko-fi.com/stopwritingalone is a real simple way to show your support for what's going on here week after week. Hi, everyone. This is Nicole Rivera, and you're listening to the Stop Writing Alone podcast for writers who are looking for their writing community. I know you want to find readers for your work, but I think your first step is to connect with other writers. That's what we're going to do here in the Stop Writing Alone podcast. We'll do writing prompts and other writing group activities, discover online writing communities, learn how to find local writing groups, or how to make your own. Join us as we explore, learn, and write. This week's episode is sponsored by this podcast and all things Stop Writing Alone. If you want to support Stop Writing Alone in a real simple way, head on over to ko-fi.com/stopwritingalone. And that's spelled ko-fi.com/stopwritingalone. There's lots of ways that you can support on that site. One is that you can buy one of the printables in the shop at Ko-fi. We have the sci-fi and fantasy writing world building workbook and the morning pages and affirmations starter kit. Also, you can support on Ko-fi by just buying me a cup of coffee. It's a $3 donation to All Things Stop Writing Alone, which you can do once and never come back again, and I will be extremely grateful. Or if you want to be a subscriber where you support on a monthly basis, you will get some of those PDF workbooks that are going into the shop for free as part of your monthly support, as well as a writing prompt exclusive to the Ko-fi community once per month. So this month, the PDF that the monthly subscribers have received is that Morning Pages starter kit with affirmations, because I have on my mind all things Morning Pages and Julia Cameron, and when you listen to this week's episode, you will understand why. But ko-fi.com is a great space to support all creatives, so go check it out and see who else that you love is over there and looking for a little pick-me-up. That's ko-fi.com/stopwritingalone to support this podcast, and I thank you to all my supporters. Now on to this week's episode. Hi, everybody. This is Nicole Rivera, and you're listening to the Stop Writing Alone podcast. Back in 2018, when I was brainstorming what this podcast was going to be and gathering up all of my ideas for All Things Stop Writing Alone, I started to just spiral out as one does. I mean, we're all writers here, so we know what happens. You get like a little seedling of an idea, and then all of a sudden, like, all the ideas start coming. And you're like, I'm not even trying to think about that. What are you doing? And one of the things that happened to me during the inspiration point was taking the Stop Writing Alone idea and taking the word writing out and pretty much filling it in with anything else. I was like, this can just explode. Of course, I have my background in teaching, so I was thinking, wow, I could do a whole thing on stop teaching alone. A mom, and at the time my son was very young, and there was so much stuff about new parenting. I was like, stop parenting alone. I was like, oh my goodness. But really, you can't keep doing all these things, Nicole. You got to chill out. But the one that has sort of clung on to me and I have been unable to shake and been wanting to do is stop reading alone. And that is what I want to talk to you about today, because it's happening. It is happening. I've been in multiple book clubs throughout my life, but particularly in the last couple of years. From Sam Kimberly's Creative Life Scholars, which I've not only spoken to you myself about, we've had Sam herself and other fellow readers come and share our experiences with the different books that we've read together, to my experience in the Quote of the Day book club run by Sean Croxton, who is the host of the Quote of the Day podcast, to my local book club that, is just a bunch of ladies that, I know from work and from around the neighborhood. And then, of course, all the times that I've joined other online reading groups and gone to the Barnes and Noble reading groups. I am obsessed with reading with others. And why? It's pretty much the same reason that I'm obsessed with writing with others, because when I enjoy something, I want to share it with someone. And one of the things that drives me crazy is when I read a really great book and I've got no one to talk to about it. But there's this other aspect, and there's this whole other genre of books that are not just reading books, but they're reading and doing books, where there's these activities that you're asked to do, and it's really so enhanced by discussion and working through it with someone else. You do all of the activities on your own, but when you share them with somebody else and you say, this is what the insight I had from this, and you hear somebody else's insight, it helps you see things from all different angles. And that's an experience that I've had a lot with Sam's group in Creative Life Scholars, because most of the books that I have read and done in that group have been these reading and doing books. So here I am. Stop Writing Alone. I love all things Julia Cameron. I love The Artist's Way. My second episode of Stop Writing Alone. After I introduced in episode 1 what this podcast was all about, the first thing that I wanted to talk to everybody about was the power of morning pages from Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way. Well, I found out last year that Julia was coming out with a brand new book in January 2021, and I could not wait. I saw the cover reveal, and every single moment I'm like, when is this book coming? It is here. It came out this past Tuesday. It is called The Listening Path, and not only is it a book from Julia Cameron, it is an extension of The Artist's Way. She is pitching it as another 6 weeks. If you're not familiar with The Artist's Way, that means you're probably a new listener here, because I've talked about it quite a bit here. It is a book by Julia Cameron that is 12 chapters long, but she says it's basically a course in a book, and it should be taken as 12 weeks of a program. And the book is a reading and doing book, because there's lots of tasks to do and lots of things that she recommends that you take on while you're reading the book. And the purpose of The Artist's Way is to free you up creatively, to shift aside any creative blocks that you have. The listening path is Julia's next step into that. She's challenging us to listen more. Listen to what? Well, listen to everything. She's designed the book very much in the same way that it is 6 chapters, but she wants us to look at them as 6 weeks of a program inside of a book. And the 6 weeks are titled, Week 1 is listening to our environment. Week 2 is listening to others. Week 3 is listening to our higher self. Week 4 focuses on listening beyond the veil. Week 5 is listening to our heroes. And week 6 is listening to silence. She also recommends that as you go through this process and read each of these weeks and do the tasks within, that you take along with you some basic tools similar to The Artist's Way, where she introduces the idea of the morning pages and the artist dates. In the listening path, she does ask us to do the morning pages and the artist dates, and a third tool of walks. This is the full extent of what I currently know about the listening path, because I don't have my copy yet. It's still being shipped to me. So what I am presenting to you when I say I want to do Stop Reading Alone with the listening path with you is that I want to read this book alongside you. I want to go through the 6 weeks together. I want to open up that book and say, what is this all about? Let's read it. Let's meet up for a live Zoom call. Let's talk about what we read in week 1. Let's talk about how we went through all of the different exercises. And let's just, hold each other's hands through this process, because I'll tell you this, every time I've gone through the Artist's Way, it's been really a lot. So it is enhanced when doing it with others. So I'm launching Stop Writing Alone. Stop Reading Alone with the listening path. And it feels right to me because it's like the podcast started with discussions of the morning pages. Why not start this reading aspect of Stop Writing Alone with something that incorporates the morning pages? And I'm asking you to come along on the journey. And so here's what it is. It's 6 weeks of Zoom calls. It's going to be a private Facebook group for us to sort of commiserate in between our Zoom calls about all the things going on in our reading. And it's going to be crazy cheap because it's the first time I'm doing it. And the first time I do things, I always like to make it crazy cheap. So it's going to be less than $4 a week. It's going to be $22 altogether for you to sign up and be part of the community. And you'll have lifetime membership to that Facebook group. I don't ever take down groups because I like everybody to stop doing things alone and be together. That's pretty much it. I am going to learn a bit more about the listening path the evening this podcast episode airs, because I am attending a virtual masterclass run by Julia Cameron herself. I cannot wait. That is all about the listening path. So I do feel like I'll have a little sense of what is to come in our reading journey, even though I do plan to read alongside you. But yeah, it's really quite exciting for me. I can't recommend the practice of morning pages enough. The funny thing that I was saying to some of the happy campers this week is that when I saw that walks was added as a tool in the listening path, I was kind of disappointed because I said walks are what I was using as my artist dates in the past. So now I have to come up with something completely new for artist dates. But that'll be part of the fun discovery. New things to do and learn and hear as I learn to listen better. As we all start to learn to listen better and see why Julia Cameron thinks this is so incredibly important to us. So I wanted to announce it here on the podcast to give you time to get your copy of The Listening Path. It's out now. You should be able to order it or buy it wherever books are sold. But this reading group will not begin until the last week of January. So the first Zoom call will be on January 28th. And the link to sign up will be in the show notes for this episode. But I'll also share it in the Stop Writing Alone group and on the page. And it'll be in the, the link in the bio on the Instagram page for Stop Writing Alone. But I hope this is something that is enticing to you guys, just so that you know my big plan for the year is to have a second session of Stop Reading Alone in the fall, or I should say late summer, early fall. And that'll be a book that is more focused on writing. So if this book doesn't call to you right now, and I completely get that, let me just say that even Julia Cameron said she resisted writing this book for so long because it was so, in her words, woo-woo. But one of her friends said, no, you really have to write it. And that gives me a little bit of pause. If Julia Cameron is saying something's very woo-woo, then I'm ready to like buckle in and get ready, because The Artist's Way was already at a level of woo-woo. So it should be a really interesting read. And I can't say for sure. Am I going to love the listening path? Is this going to go too far off the beaten track for me? We will find out, and we can find out together. So if you're interested, check the link in the show notes. And I hope, we get a nice group. I don't want to do it alone. I want to stop reading alone. So, So once again, it's called The Listening Path, and it's 6 weeks. So it would be January 28th, February 4th, February 11th, February 18th, February 25th, and it would end on March the 4th. I'm doing Thursday nights. I will record the discussions in case that's just like the worst day in the world. Those of you that miss out, you can get the recordings, but the recordings will only be for members of Stop Reading Alone. So if you have any questions and you want to send me a message on Messenger on Facebook or direct message on Instagram, I'm all ears, and I'm very excited, and this is your official invitation to come read and chat with me and anyone else who's coming along for the ride. I'll also drop a link in the show notes for the listening path. This way, if that just makes it easier for you to go pick it up there. And that's about it. I didn't want to overburden you with many, many things today. I just really, really excited about this book and wanted to invite you. And this week in the NV Rivera YouTube channel will be a writing exercise. So last week we had our first writing prompt from the Storymatic Classic box, and this week will be a writing exercise and a little teaser. For anyone who knows the book, this week's exercise will be from John Gillard's Coffee Break Writing, which is one of my favorite books for writing exercises, but it will not be an exercise that we have done before if you've been following along. So tune in on Friday for a brand new YouTube that will get your brain working in different ways. I really like this exercise. I hadn't done it before, and it's really interesting. So that's it from me. Also on Fridays on the Instagram, I have a hashtag photo prompt Friday. So if the exercise is not for you and you want a photo prompt, come check out at Stop Writing Alone on Instagram to see what snapshot is sitting there waiting to inspire you. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week, but each week on Sundays in the stories of Instagram, which I do believe forwards to the stories of Facebook, I have been sharing hashtag Submit Sunday. So I am doing the personal challenge this year of submitting one piece of work every single week. I'm trying to do 52 submissions in 52 weeks. And so as a result, I am mired in looking at submission calls for all different types of things. And rather than just be a greedy monger holding all these submission calls when I'm only using one per week, I am sharing them in the Instagram stories. So if you are looking for places to submit your work, or perhaps ways to be inspired, I've discussed this before, lots of times it's really great to look at submission calls and use them almost as a writing prompt and try to write to the submission call and see if you can get your work published or in a contest in that way. So every single Sunday on Instagram, but in the stories, not in my regular feed, take a look and check out Submit Sunday, and you will see hashtag Submit Sunday. You will see all the different little submission calls that I have found in the week. And that is all. I hope you are having a wonderful week and staying calm and finding all of your joys wherever they are around you. One of mine currently is reading, so I am looking forward to sharing that joy with you. Have a fantastic week and happy writing. Thank you as always for listening. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and share the episode. And please, if you haven't written a review and you're a regular listener, let me know what you think. Even if you say, this is cool. That would be awesome. All right. Thanks a lot. Have a great week. And I will talk to you next Thursday. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the Stop Writing Alone podcast wherever you're listening to this episode today. Then connect with us on Facebook at Stop Writing Alone Facebook page or in the Stop Writing Alone with Nicole Rivera Facebook group. Check Instagram or Twitter where I'm at NV_Rivera to find links to our email newsletter. Recording, hosting, editing, producing. It's so much work. Disaster has struck. I finished my coffee. Tell me coffee is coming. ko-fi.com/stop writing alone.